All right. Well, hey, everybody. It's Grim Green from GrimGreen.com back here today. Hanging out, doing what I do. Welcome to Wildcard Wednesday. I got some regulated mods to talk about today. Today, we're going to be talking about these right here. iStick 30 watt, iStick 50 watt. Going toe to toe. Which one should you buy? Which one do I like even more than the other one? I don't even know. What we're going to do right now in order to get to know both of these just a little bit better is go up close for a quick short uppy closey time. We're going to be using the iStick 30 watt Kanger Subtank Nano on there. Uppy closey time. Alright, yeehaw, we're going to spend a little bit of up close and personal time here with the iStick 50 watt as well as the iStick 30 watt. So 30? Why did I say that? So I've had these for quite a while, since roughly January, and I've been using them quite extensively. In fact, this setup right here, the 30 watt with the Kanger Subtank Nano and this drip tip from just the tip, I know it doesn't match at all in any capacity. This is one of the best vapes that I have in my setup. I've been using it like a crazy person. I just like the way that it performs. So this is the 30 watt. This is the smaller of the two. It's very much like the original 20 watt, except obviously, duh, it does 30 watts, and also it has this little lip here. So when you put on something that's 22 millimeters, let me grab this this strange looking Russian 91, it kind of, it fits on there just a little bit better. There's a little bit of a lip on there, which stylistically wise, I don't know, it looks pretty cool. It kind of works really well. I don't know. It's just a thing that's there. Some people might dig it, some people might not. I think it's a cool little addition to the 30 watt. But like the 30 watt says, it goes up to 30 watts. You adjust down, you adjust up. You can hold both of these and that'll lock your wattage in place, locked. So you can still fire it, although it says no atomizer, but you can't adjust this up or down, it's locked. Hold them again, and it unlocks, and now you're free to adjust your wattage up and down. 5 turns it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's off now, and you can't fire it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comes back on. 1, 2, 3 will switch you between wattage and voltage on the display. So now you can see your voltage. And so I want to turn my voltage all the way up. 3.4, 4, 5, 6, 6.8, 7. So depending on your ohms, you'll be able to adjust the wattage. So when I have this on here, just like this, the max it's going to give me based on the ohms. Oh, let's see if I can turn it up. Nope, 6.2 volts. That's going to be maxing out at about 30 watts. 1, 2, 3. Let's switch it back to wattage. So 29.5. Let's see if I can turn this up to 30 watts. And yes, it gives me 6.2 volts. On a 1.3 ohm coil, and like I said, this has just been a great vape. No dry hits. I really enjoy it. So let's go over the specs real fast, and these are going to be pretty similar, and I'm going to link in the description to where you can pick this up. 510 threaded, variable wattage. The maximum wattage output is 30 watts on this. It goes from 2 volts to 8 volts depending on your ohms. Adjustable wattage is from 5 to 30 watts, and that doesn't change. Minimum resistance on this is 0.4, so it's not going to fire anything lower than 0.4 ohms. It does have a 2200, why can't I say this? 2200 milliamp hour battery on the inside, or mAh battery on the inside. Lasts a very long time. Has an OLED screen. Battery condition, atomizer resistance, wattage, and voltage. Yeah, so it'll show you your battery life. There's a little battery indicator there, and it's very tiny and not super incredibly accurate, but it gets the job done for the most part. Has short circuit protection. You can't take a toot for longer than 10 seconds, and it will stop firing if your battery on the inside gets lower than 3.3 volts for safety reasons. Does charge on the bottom via micro USB, and I've seen some people all over the interwebs, Instagram and Reddit, that have built little charging docks, so you can just stick your 30 watt in there and it'll charge. Otherwise, you have to plug a cable in there and kind of lay it on its side to get it going. Now, the 50 watt is very much like the 30 watt. In fact, for my money, I would honestly just probably grab the 50 watt. You're going to be able to pick up the 30 watt for around 40 bucks, and you're going to be able to pick up the 50 watt, that's right, for around 50 bucks. Let's go over the specs of it real fast. It's going to be very, very similar. 510 threaded, 2 volts to 10 volts depending on your ohms. The wattage is adjustable from 5 watts to 50 watts, and the minimum resistance that this will fire is 0.2 ohms. It says it has a built-in battery that's 4400 mAh or milliamp hour. So here's a quick story. When I was at the beach not too long ago, this came out of my pocket and landed in the ocean. Not this one, another one that I ended up not being able to use anymore. I decided I was going to try to clean it and take it apart. I took these screws out, I pulled this out, and what's on the inside is 2 18650 batteries. It's not a LiPo pack. It's 2 18650 batteries. It's kind of deceiving in the description of it. They say it has a built-in battery, and while that's true, it does have a built-in battery. It's actually 2 18650 batteries on the inside. OLED display that works very, very much like the 30 watt. 1, 2, 3. It's going to switch it between wattage and voltage. 1, 2, 3. Go back to wattage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is back on. You can adjust your wattage and voltage up and down, as well as lock them by holding that. The only real difference is I feel like this one's much more comfortable to hold and to use. It does have a 510 connection that's 23 millimeters around. So when I put this K-Fun Russian clone on there, fits on there nice, looks really great. It does charge in the USB at the top, so you can just plug this in and set it down. It'll work, and it'll work really, really well. It does have a spring-loaded 510 connection. Same goes for the 30 watt. They're both spring-loaded 510 connections. They're both chromey on the top and on the bottom. They both charge via different placement of USB ports, but they both charge via USB. Both the buttons are on the front, although the 50 watt is rounded a little bit, and I thought this was some sort of plastic. It's not. It's actually a metal button. I discovered that when I took it apart. It kind of feels like plastic, but it is actually metal. Now they do get a little rattly. More so, oh, I guess, yeah, the 50 watt doesn't rattle. The buttons are feel much more secure. They don't, I guess that's a little bit rattly, but the 30 watt, oh man, it rattles like crazy. That's just the buttons and stuff moving around on there. So yeah, iStick 50 watt, iStick 30 watt. They both work well. They're both very, very similar little devices. If I had to choose one over the other, let's wait till we get back out to normal view to decide that. Normal view, normal view. So yeah, that's some uppy closey time with both of these devices. Now, I actually really like the iSticks. I liked the first iStick 20 watt, I liked the iStick 30 watt, and then they did the 50 watt. They seem to have paused a little bit. I was waiting. When I first got the 50 watt, I was like, it's gonna be like a month and they're gonna release the iStick 80 or the iStick 100 watt. It's gonna get there eventually. So what we have now is the iStick 20 watt, which I've already done a video for. It's not, it's pretty great, but that's not what this video is about. What we're doing is comparing the 30 watt to the 50 watt. 30 watt is obviously much smaller and has a maximum wattage output of 30 watts. 50 watt is a little bit bigger and has a maximum output of 50 watts. The 50 watt fires down to 0.2 ohms, where the 30 watt will only fire down to 0.4 ohms. So that's something to consider as well. Obviously the 50 watt is going to have more wattage and more battery life in a bigger package. If you want something smaller, this is going to have a little bit lower wattage output and a little bit lower of battery life. Now, like I said in the uppy closey portion, the iStick 50 watt actually has 2 18650s on the inside. I had to take it apart due to a beach incident, but I did take it apart and there's 2 18650s on the inside, which I think is pretty cool. I couldn't see what kind of 18650s they were because they were wrapped in that sort of yellow mylar material. Out of both of these, I've been using them both the same, which is ridiculous. I tend to gravitate more towards the 50 watt. I like the round ovally design of it. I like the way it fits in my hand, and I like this trigger. I like this button right here. This is a K-Fun that was given to me at VPX. It's actually a Russian, it's a Russian 91. What was the guy's name? Ah, crap. I'm gonna have to try to find this guy's name. It's something silly. It's like Tootsie or Poopsie or Dadoopy. Gdadoopy. What's his name? Oh, come on. I just had this saved. Shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, I got this from a guy at Toonie. His name is Toonie. Toonie. He had a big tackle box full of like all these Orchid and K-Fun and Russian parts, and he handed this to me in a little box, and it was like, whoa, that's really cool. And he put a build on it. That's actually the drip tip right there. You're just supposed to put this whole thing in your mouth. It still does mouth to lung hits. Now this is 0.4 ohms, so I have it at 50 watts. It's giving me 4.4 volts, and it works really well. Because this is 0.4 ohms, that means that technically I can rock it on the iStick 30 watt. I'm going to see, what's my voltage set at? Oh, I have it set to 50 watts. So this is only going to give me 30 watts maximum, but it is going to fire it because it's 0.4 ohms, but it's only giving me 3.4 volts, which is basically, rocking a 0.4 ohm at 30 watts is basically like using a slightly dead battery. It's only giving me 3.4 volts. It just feels really, really weak. With the iStick 30 watt, I tend to gravitate towards higher ohms. So I've been using this sub-tank Nano because the coils on it are 1.3 ohms, and it gives me a little bit over 6 volts. This right here, although I know it doesn't match, has been one of my absolute favorite vapes. I just like the way it performs. If I'm going out to dinner, if I'm going to a rock show, if I'm going to a bar, this is what I'll be bringing, because I can lock it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can lock it, throw it in my pocket, have a little tank for the night, have a nice long-lasting battery for the night, and still get plenty of vapor, plenty of performance when I use it. And this has been kind of like my go-to, like, going out device lately. If I'm going out, like I said, out to dinner, out to a bar, out to a rock show or something, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can throw this in my pocket, and I know that it's going to work great. Additionally, this one also works really great. So, if I had to choose right now, someone walks in, Matt from Suck My Mod walks in holding a gun for some reason, points it at my head and says, choose between the iStick 50 watt or the iStick 30 watt now. 50 watt. I would just go with the 50 watt. It's still a nice compact size, but you're getting so much more wattage and so much more battery life for around 10 bucks more. If you really want the 30 watt, then go with the 30 watt. It's going to work great. This is one of my favorite vapes. But for my money, if I was spending my money, I would just go with the 50 watt. I like the size of it. I like the button on it. I like the battery life, and I like the performance. It's just been an all-around great performer. This is one of those things that's just, it's always going to be around in my kit. It's always going to be around in my arsenal. I like to use it when I'm traveling. I like to use it all over the place. If I'm looking for a regulated mod, if I'm like, shit, I need a regulated mod, chances are I will grab this and I will use it. Obviously, in the end, the decision is yours and yours alone to make. I don't know why I got so like used car salesman there. But that's what I got for today. It's the 30 watt, it's the 50 watt. They both come from iStick. They both come from eLeaf out of China. I'll post some links in the description, generally to my Vapor store, just because they always come up first in the search results. They got good SEO. I'll post links in the description to where you can pick these up if you're so interested. But that's what I got for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. There will be a vlog this week. And as always, let's keep on vaping.
That's enough.